Greetings, friends. Welcome to CTUCC ConferenceCast for July 26th, 2012, the regular podcast of the Connecticut Conference of the United Church of Christ. Whoever you are, and wherever you may be on life's journey at this very moment, you are welcome here. We begin this week's ConferenceCast with this meditation from the Reverend Dr. Tom Clough, Interim Eastern Regional Minister. John tells the story of the miraculous feeding of thousands of people in the 6th chapter of his Gospel. After a long day of teaching, Jesus tells his disciples to feed the crowd, but all they can come up with is 5 loaves and 2 fish contributed by a small boy. But in Jesus' hands, these small gifts feed everyone, with even more left over.
I just realized that regardless of what Cameron Trimble may tweet this week, the decline of the mainline church is all my fault. And if you grew up going to Sunday school as I did, it's probably all your fault too. Remember what they taught us in Sunday school about the loaves and the fishes miracle? Remember how the hero in this story was the strange little boy who just happened to be wandering around complete with a personal supply of bread and fish? Remember how his willingness to share his lunch must have inspired all the other picnic-packing Galileans to share their concealed meals? Remember how this story taught us that God has given us everything we need to make this world a better place. I guess it was at this point in the development of our theological understanding that we assumed God had gone back home and left us in charge of the sharing. And as my therapist is wont to say, "Well, Tom, how did that work out for you?" Well, for quite a while I got Jesus confused with Carl Rogers and understood the goal of the church to be simply this: to render itself unnecessary. For the past 50 years we have done a remarkable job of dismantling the institution of the church as we have striven to become fully functioning individuals. Yet somewhere along the way to this bliss of individuation, we seem to have forgotten to attend to this sharing stuff. So maybe the bit about God leaving us in charge missed the mark. Maybe the bread and fish story wasn't so much about the generous boy as it was about the Savior who assumed that his disciples must feed the oncoming crowd. Perhaps we still need this kind of direction in our lives today and even tomorrow. As the Bishop William Willimon, who never had an idea I didn't preach, once put it, in my church these days, we have an almost exclusive focus upon Jesus as the one who feeds, loves, and heals, and an almost complete neglect of Jesus as the one who saves. Could it be that we desperately do need the church, even after we have grown up? Could it be that the world needs us to be the church of the one who saves?
Here is a prayer for this week.
O God, thank you for the gift of discipleship rather than perfection. Amen.
In the news this week, in Milford, 2 congregations from different traditions launched a new interfaith venture this summer. In June, Congregation Sinai, a conservative Jewish fellowship, began holding Sabbath services at Woodmont United Church of Christ. This is a bold interfaith adventure that is both risky yet filled with potential, said Woodmont's pastor, the Reverend Gary Whitty. Sinai's rabbi, Dana Bogat, said, "We look forward to expanding the existing relationship between the two congregations." ConferenceCast comes to you from Silver Lake Conference Center today, where I'm serving as chaplain to the staff, deans, counselors, and conferees here this week. It's been an amazing few days here in God's backyard. I've been asking the young people and the older people to share their stories of wonderful things that have happened for them and through them. Some have said, well, but no. Here are some of their stories in their own voices.
And I saw like the sun shining through the leaves of the trees, and I thought it was so beautiful, like I wanted to take a picture of it, but I didn't have my camera.
Like seeing my team work together.
There's this fish we named George.
We saw a pregnant deer under the boys' cabin.
My cabin! I saw Bambi.
Well, actually, our favorite part of the day was donating to missions, and the fact that you could donate to 3, Simply Smiles, Hello Haiti, and Bombay Mission.
I feel really good inside that I donated.
Well, I'm here for the Mom and Me camp, and the moms had the afternoon off to kind of do our own thing. A couple of us moms went with Day this afternoon, and she did some stepping, I believe it's called, and it was just wonderful.
Well, today when I was swimming at the lake and I got out, my friend, because I was covered in seaweed, my friend helped me get it off.
Pastor Carl shared his hot sauce.
This has been a better experience than anything I have almost ever done in my whole entire life, and I'm really happy where I am, and I'm really having fun. Well, when I was climbing Mudge Mountain, I couldn't really get up, but then my friends cheered me on and then I got up.
Excellent. That is very cool. Thanks.
Make sure to visit our website and read the Reverend Kathy Peters' essay, Why I Love Silver Lake. She and all her family have found this a place where God's blessings are manifest in the trees, the grass, the water, and most especially in the people. Well, it's the end of the month, so it's time for Conference Archivist John Van Epps to join us with this touchstone with history.
This week, the United Black Christians of the UCC are meeting at Faith UCC in Hartford. Our conference has a long history with African American churches and clergy. The earliest black congregational minister was Lemuel Haynes, ordained in Torrington in 1785. Dixwell Avenue Church in New Haven and Faith UCC in Hartford both have roots as two of the earliest African American congregations in our country, both formed around 1830. The Reverend James Pennington was pastor of both churches. He was involved in the support of the Amistad captives. After their release from prison, he helped provide support to them in the early 1840s, including the desire of many of the Mendes to return to their homeland of Sierra Leone. To this end, James Pennington founded the Union Missionary Society in Hartford in 1841, because the established missionary societies were not sufficiently anti-slavery. 2 members of the Talcott Street Church, as Faith Church was then called, were part of a team of 5 missionaries that sailed to Sierra Leone with 35 of the Mendes in the early 1840s. Just a few years later, in 1846, this Union Missionary Society merged with several other groups to form the American Missionary Association. This AMA sent missionaries to train and teach underprivileged people in this country and abroad, particularly blacks. The AMA became especially active after the Civil War, founding over 500 schools and colleges to educate freed slaves. The AMA got a great financial boost when it received over $1 million in the 1800s from Daniel Hand, who had been born in Madison and became a successful merchant in the South prior to the Civil War. There are still 6 colleges in the South founded by the American Missionary Association, and there are scholarships given to African Americans in memory of Daniel Hand. Finally, to hear more about James Pennington and the American Missionary Association, the speaker for the Authorized Ministers Luncheon in October will be the Reverend Christopher Weber, who has recently published a biography of James Pennington.
In other stories this week, we have a profile of the Reverend Jennifer Gingras, the new senior minister at the Monroe Congregational Church UCC, and you'll also find photos and video from the National Youth Event 2 weeks ago. We're slowly recovering from an email outage at the Connecticut Conference offices at United Church Center in Hartford. Our direct email is all online, but our Fido discussion service is still down as of Thursday morning. You can see all the current headlines at ctucc.org/news. The first materials for the fall session of the Connecticut Conference annual meeting are online, so everybody get ready to go big. The Reverend J. Bennett Guess, Executive for Local Church Ministries of the United Church of Christ, will kick off the meeting with his keynote address. The day will include the business of the conference and inspiring music, enlightening worship, and empowering learning experiences. The fall session will be held at Middletown High School on October 20th. Learn more at ctucc.org/annual meeting. United Black Christians are holding their 20th convocation in Hartford, July 25th through 28th. The UCC Musicians Association Conference is July 29th through August 2nd in Burlington, Vermont. Connecticut's interim ministers invite everyone to their Fifth Tuesday Discussions series, which takes up the latest trends in faith formation in Hartford, next Tuesday, July 31st. Praxis 21, the Center for Progressive Renewal's National Church Leadership Institute, runs August 8th through 10th in Decatur, Georgia. As fall's coming up, you can learn about strategic planning for congregations in West Hartford, September 11th through 13th. The Thinking About Working for God Congregational Retreat is September 22nd at Silver Lake. On the same day, Ripples in the Water, Building an Open and Affirming Movement, will be held in North Haven. Registration is now open for General Association, the Connecticut Conference's annual gathering of authorized ministers, church musicians, and Christian educators, to be held at Silver Lake on September 23rd. Bishop Yvette Flunder of City of Refuge in San Francisco is the keynote speaker. Also on the program, Interim Conference Minister Chuck Wildman, the General Association banquet, and even some time on the High Ropes Challenge course. Find out more and register at ctucc.org/GENLASSN. Be sure to visit us on the web for more great events at ctucc.org/events. And that brings this ConferenceCast to a close. Thanks to Tom Clough for his reflection and to GarageBand for our music. Primary funding for ConferenceCast comes from your congregation's gifts to our church's wider mission, basic support, changing lives through the United Church of Christ. This is Eric Anderson, the Minister of Communications and Technology for the Connecticut Conference of the United Church of Christ, praying that your days this week may be filled with the presence, the guidance, and the grace of God.